Elena woke up the next morning with the weight of unease pressing on her chest. Daniel was still asleep beside her, his arm draped across her waist. He looked so peaceful, so ordinary, that it almost made her doubt what she had seen in Midtown. Almost. She slipped out of bed, careful not to wake him, and made coffee. As the smell filled the apartment, her phone buzzed. It was Maya. "We need to talk, urgent." Elena's stomach sank. When they met at a cafe downtown, Maya pulled up her phone and showed Elena a photo. Daniel, though dressed differently in a suit and tie, standing next to a group of powerful-looking men at a charity gala. The headline read, "Billionaire heir Daniel Reynolds expands family empire." Elena's breath caught in her throat. The name, the face, it was him. She wanted to deny it, to believe there was some mistake, but the evidence was right there. Maya placed a hand over hers. "He lied to you, Elena. He's not some construction worker. He's one of the wealthiest men in New York. Why would he hide that from you?" Elena couldn't answer. She felt like the floor had vanished beneath her. When she returned home, Daniel was cooking dinner, humming softly. He looked up and smiled at her, as if nothing in the world was wrong. She stared at him, her chest tight. "Daniel, or should I say Daniel Reynolds?" The spatula slipped from his hand. His expression flickered, shock, then resignation. "Elena, I can explain." "Explain," her voice shook. "You lied to me about who you are. All those nights, all those stories, were they just games to you? Some kind of experiment?" He stepped toward her, desperate. "No, none of it was fake. I wanted to find someone who loved me for me, not for my money or my name. I didn't tell you because I was terrified you'd look at me differently." Her eyes burned. "And now, how do you expect me to look at you?" He reached for her hand, but she pulled away. That night she didn't let him stay. The silence in her apartment felt like a knife. Days passed. Daniel called, texted, even came to the diner, but Elena avoided him. She was torn between anger and longing. She missed him, the laughter, the warmth, but the betrayal gnawed at her. One evening she came home to find a canvas leaning against her door. Her sketches, every single one she'd ever shown him, had been framed together in a collage. A note was taped to the top. "I saw your soul in your art. That's what I fell in love with. Please don't let my fear destroy what we had. D." Elena's hands trembled. Tears blurred her vision. She wanted to hate him, but her heart wouldn't listen. It was Maya again who pushed her. "You have to decide, Elena. Do you love the man or do you love the lie? Because if you can't forgive him, let him go. But if you can, maybe it's worth the risk." That night, Elena agreed to meet Daniel. They sat across from each other at a quiet rooftop bar, the skyline glittering around them. He looked exhausted, vulnerable in a way she hadn't seen before. "I grew up in a cage, Elena," he said softly. "A gilded one. My family's wealth, the business, the people around me, they only ever wanted the money, the power. I didn't know who I could trust, so I walked away. I wanted to be normal, to see if someone could love me without all of that. And then I met you." His voice broke. "You were real in a way nothing else in my life was. Please believe me." Her chest ached. "But you should have trusted me from the start." "I know," he whispered, "and I'm sorry. I'll spend the rest of my life proving it if you let me." Elena stared at him, torn open. She wanted to forgive him, but trust once broken wasn't so easily mended. Weeks turned into months. Slowly she let him back in. He didn't push, he waited. He showed up for her shifts, carried her groceries, listened when she cried about bills. He never flaunted his wealth, never pressured her into his world. And little by little, the walls she'd built began to crack. One evening he took her to a gallery opening. He had arranged it quietly, without fanfare. The walls were lined with Elena's art, her sketches, her paintings, displayed beautifully. She turned to him in shock. "Daniel, what is this?" His smile was soft, reverent. "Your dream, you deserve to be seen." The crowd admired her work, asked questions, complimented her vision. Elena felt alive in a way she hadn't in years. And when Daniel kissed her that night in front of everyone, she realized she still loved him. But love, as she soon learned, wasn't enough to shield them from the storm ahead. One rainy evening she visited his penthouse for the first time. The opulence stunned her. Floor-to-ceiling windows, marble floors, priceless art. It was a different universe. That's when she met his father. Richard Reynolds was a man carved from ice, sharp suit, cold eyes, an aura of power that filled the room. So you're the waitress, he said, disdain dripping from his voice. Tell me, Alina, do you think this fling can last? My son has responsibilities. He cannot waste his future on someone like you. Alina's cheeks burned. She opened her mouth, but Daniel stepped in, his voice firm. Father, that's enough. Alina is not a fling, she's the woman I love. Richard scoffed. Love doesn't build empires. The confrontation ended with Daniel storming out, Alina in tears. Back in his car, Daniel held her hand. I don't care what he thinks, I'm not giving you up. But Alina wasn't so sure. She had stepped into his world and it terrified her. The pressure mounted. Paparazzi began to follow them, tabloids splashing her face with headlines like billionaire's mystery girlfriend, from diner to dynasty. Customers at the diner whispered behind her back. Friends grew distant. The fairy tale had become a spotlight, and Alina wasn't sure she could survive it. One night, overwhelmed, she told Daniel, I can't do this. I can't be your scandal, your weakness. Maybe your father's right. Maybe we don't belong together. Daniel's face crumbled. Alina, please don't say that. Tears streamed down her cheeks. I love you, Daniel, but love isn't enough if it destroys me. She walked away that night, her heart shattering. Months passed. Alina buried herself in work and art. She ignored his calls, avoided the news, tried to stitch her life back together. And then one afternoon, a knock came at her door. When she opened it, Daniel stood there, disheveled, eyes red but determined. Alina, he said, voice trembling, I walked away from the company, from the money, from all of it. I chose you. Her breath caught. What? Why? Because none of it matters without you. I'd rather build a life from scratch with you than live in a palace without you. She stared at him, torn between disbelief and hope. Daniel, are you sure? He stepped closer, cupping her face. I've never been more sure of anything in my life. And when he kissed her, all the walls, all the pain melted away. For the first time, she believed. They moved into a small brownstone in Brooklyn, modest compared to his old life, but filled with laughter and love. Alina's art gained recognition after the gallery show, and Daniel found work with a non-profit, using his skills without the weight of his family's empire. Life wasn't perfect. They fought, they struggled, but they fought together. One evening, as they sat on the stoop watching the sunset, Alina leaned against him and whispered, You know, I still feel betrayed sometimes, that you lied to me. Daniel kissed her hair. I'll spend forever making it up to you. And somehow she knew he would. Because in the end, the billionaire who pretended